You know, I was going to say the F word, but I forgot if you put it on YouTube, then it like falls out of the algorithm like in the first 20 seconds. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to do that now.
Oh
So
yeah.
what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the SuperScope podcast, your wrap up in this week's biggest gaming stories, leaks, and rumors. We're back with episode 42 on Sunday, August 21st. I said 21st. I love it. I'm your host, Retro Game Dude. Of course, joining me as always is my co-host, Daisuke Aurora of Phoenix Aurora Gaming. Feel free to join the discussion live on Twitch, and if you're watching this on YouTube, tap and like that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And of course, if you want to hear the audio versions, you can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Daisuke Aurora, how the hell are you doing this week?
I'm doing great.
Perfect. I think
I'm counting down the seconds until we can swear. I'm just kidding.
nice. I think we've crossed that threshold, so we do have a pretty big fucking show this week. Just wanted to say that. So, yeah, so we've got a meaty show. We're going to be talking about all of the game showcases that are coming up in this like next quarter, starting in 2 days. So stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about that towards the end of the show. So let's talk about the state of the stream. We of course had our Jackbox stream last night. Had a blast. We had a packed ass voice chat last night. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. That was insane.
It was like a fucking block party up here. So that was a hoot. If you guys haven't tuned into the Jackbox stream or haven't played along, please do. We always have a blast. It gets adult real quick, so if you're easily offended, it's not a stream for you. What else we got here? So a lot of this week went fast, like obscenely fast. Yep. We say it every week, but this one was like even quicker.
Yeah, dude.
Wild stuff. So we're back here. What did we? I don't even remember what I streamed this week. Oh, I didn't stream this week because I tried to play Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't really work so well because I got soft locked twice in the intro, the tutorial of the game. So I was just like, well, what can I do? So I do have a saved game from off stream that's not soft locked, and I probably will try to play that again soon. But this week we're going to be playing some Phasmophobia. It sounds like all of the players are going to be mods in the channel. I know you're a huge fan of horror games. And,
oh yeah, don't even get me started.
especially jump scare stuff like this. So I'm
the best.
I'm here for it.
It's my second favorite thing next to like vegetable platters.
Oh yeah, a crudité.
They're both right up there. Yeah, the ratatouille.
The ratatouille.
You know that movie is about a food?
Really? I thought it was about a rat.
Yeah. Well, I guess ratatouille is a dish.
Yeah. Wait. I'm joking. Are you not joking?
I didn't know it was a food until that movie. I did not know that was a food. I'm watching the movie and the rat is like, we're going to cut up a bunch of vegetables and put it on a plate. And it's like Italian cuisine or French cuisine or something. And I was like, Disney comes up with the wildest shit. A talking rat that makes vegetable platters. And they're like, the vegetable platters are real food. Like, it's very common over there. And I was like, wow, these people really just eat anything.
Oh man, they would. So, okay, so you're a strict meatitarian.
Hey, I eat everything but vegetables.
Okay.
And I can't even say that because I'll eat the impossible meats and stuff, which apparently are all vegetables. We had that for dinner. I made pasta with impossible meat in it, and it tasted like pasta, dude. It's actually crazy how good that impossible meat is at replicating the real deal.
Oh, I've had their burgers. I think I went. Yeah. I've tried one at PJ Wellaghan's back when they first came out. And it was pretty solid, so I can't complain there.
Yeah.
Definitely can't complain there. Definitely a good substitute if you are looking for a moral decision, I guess, to make.
Sure, but yeah.
But yeah,
it can be a health thing, too.
Oh, absolutely.
I know, like, some people, like, I don't have this problem, but I know some people have things where, like, their body doesn't break down the fats in meat very well, and they get, like, bad reactions to eating actual meat. And that's another good reason to go that route, but...
That's fair.
I can say.
So you don't eat vegetables, is what? Fruits or vegetables, right?
I try not to.
Like, the cherry flavoring in that Code Red is probably the closest we're going to get.
Not fruit. So I don't eat those either. Don't get me wrong.
Given the choice, would you eat the ratatouille or the rat?
I don't like the fact that the answer is probably the rat.
I mean, if you cook
I
it
don't
right.
know. Can what can we put in this ratatouille to make it edible? Like Skittles or something?
Skittles.
We
some
top it with Skittles.
some syrup.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, we're certainly on one this week, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
All right. So, what are we playing this week? I played, or at least attempted to play Call of the Lamb. What I have played
Mhm.
of it, I'd really enjoy. I don't think I've played much of it forward from what I've reported from last week, but definitely having fun with it. I would highly recommend. Almost started Xenogears again for the fourth time, but um, still working on it. So, you know what I have
There
been
you go.
playing is Pokemon Crystal. Um,
There you go.
yeah, I finally got an EverDrive for my Game Boy Color that's modded, so figured I'd throw that on there because it's easier than just replacing the battery in the damn cartridge, because my cartridge, like the battery in that's like long gone. So I gotta get in there at some point and resolder it. But now I can save it. Now I can do like save states. I can do randomizers, and that's something my daughter's really wanted to do, is get into Pokemon randomizers. So
Nice.
we're gonna try that. It'll be cool.
There you go.
Yeah, looking forward to that. What are you playing this week?
It's mostly Final Fantasy, dude.
Yeah,
Um, I have not been back in Pokemon Unite for like a week because I've been actually getting sleep at night instead of staying up late.
how's that?
And yeah, it's weird. It's like you do this thing, you lay down, you close your eyes, you wake up, and it's like a weird recharge. It's weird.
That's very strange.
It's working all right for me. Um, no, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, I still play Mirrorverse for that Disney game on my phone, but it's nothing to write home about. It's literally just log in, collect rewards, see if I have enough to like upgrade someone, leave.
Right.
It's one of those things I'll probably put down sometime soon once I get to the point where it's not.
Once you hit the old paywall.
Well, yeah, it's like I'm kind of there, but like I still have options to get stuff, so I'm still doing those options, but those options feel worse than before.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm literally logging in, ticking all my boxes for my rewards, and then like running a couple of things that give me the currency I need to like level up,
Right.
and then logging back off. Like I'm not actually really enjoying my time. It's kind of a task at this point. So I'm sure one of these days I'll put it down.
Sure.
But but I mean I played it for a long time and it was interesting up until recently.
Hmm.
Well, you know what it is? I broke level 50 on the characters, and when you break level 50, the currency that you need to level them up changes to something that you only ever see in like the shop for orbs, and the orbs you only get them from doing your daily login tasks and like real money.
Hmm.
So it's trickled down to like leveling up my characters is a trickle now.
That's a shame.
So yeah, it was, and it's a pain because it's one of those things where it's like this game is fine if it wasn't for the fact that it bottlenecks you to the point where you don't really want to play or you want to spend money.
Right.
And I don't go to spend money amount most of the time for those. Usually, and when that happens, when that bottleneck happens, it pushes me out.
Sure.
And I think it pushes a lot of players out. But I think there's enough people who make money on it, and they fine tune that bottleneck to be perfect so that they still get enough people paying to like make it worth it
You
for
would think
them
if they
to
just
make.
charged like an outright $20,
Oh yeah,
that
dude.
they would make more money on and retain more players. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They must hit that like that. It must hit that like nice mark where it's like it doesn't overload the servers too. That's probably part of the equation, where they don't
Yeah.
have like a bunch of people playing. They've already played their $20, and now it's it's that they hemorrhage off the people that don't want to pay for it and then aren't paying for the server time or whatever. So it's a
Right.
shame.
Yeah,
It's
because it would be like if this was like you could have slapped this on the PlayStation 1 without paywalls and without this sort of weird trickle economy and made it just like no energy, you
right.
could just play the game. People would have played it for like a year, dude, easily. But nope, here we are. It's the modern state of mobile games, I guess.
Yeah, and
Because they're
like
all like this, right? Diablo Immortal is the same thing. If you slap Diablo Immortal on a console and you just charge an upfront price and then don't gate it in all these weird ways, it
mhm,
would be fine.
right. Would you have paid $60 for Diablo Immortal if you could play through the whole game?
Personally, no, but I'm not a Diablo player.
Fair. I think enough people
What I
would
mean by that is
justify
like
it.
I think if the entire end game all the way up to like what costs you like 100 grand was all included in the regular economy of the game
Mhm.
and accessible and grindable, I think it's definitely worth the purchase of $60. It's just that part of the game is the part that I dislike the most. The like now that you're at the end, repeatedly do the thing to slightly improve. I hate that part. I don't
Right.
like that slight improvement at the end where you're just grinding Hell 1 until you can grind up enough levels to get into Hell 2, so you can grind up enough levels to get into Hell 3, so you can increase, like, number go up at that. Like, at that point, it feels like number go up for no reason. I don't
Sure.
feel stronger. I'm not learning new abilities. I'm not learning new skills. I'm not taking on new fights that are harder. I'm rehashing the same fights at increased difficulties
And it's all
for number
incremental,
go
so
up.
like you said,
Like,
you don't
yeah,
feel it. And then it's just really more gate for like, oh, you have to have this kind of armor rating to get into this.
yep.
Um,
Which
and like,
that's one thing. For example, that Final Fantasy is really good at avoiding is like when Final Fantasy puts out number go up, they do that with
sure.
like the patches, but you don't have to grind it. You literally just go get your gear from whatever activity, the raid,
Hmm.
crafted, dungeon, whatever it is, tomes, and like it doesn't feel like
It's a much tighter, smaller loop.
yeah, you do it very quickly,
Hmm.
and on top of that, it's not like, hey, I know you've killed this boss 20 times, but like if you kill him another 20 times this week, your number go up one, and
Hmm.
then you keep killing him 20 more times, your number go up one. Like in Final Fantasy, when the patch drops, it's all new content that we're playing, and that new content is rewarding us with that number go up. So like, if my number didn't go up, I'd probably still be playing it because the new content is what pulls me. The number go up is just like the side effect, right, of playing it.
Right,
Like
right.
I keep doing Aglaya like the 24-man raid with you or with Dark because it's fun, not because number go up. I'm not even getting gear out of it at this point. I actually don't even need anything in there anymore, but it's still fun. So it's like
Yeah,
it's like the opposite effect, right? It's like the fun comes first for that, and that's why I keep playing it instead of the opposite.
sure. And like even like going through Agli, as much as I bitch about like some of the shortcomings of that, I'm still having fun.
The
Um,
Fire Lady,
yeah, exactly.
her big kick.
Right. God damn it. So yeah, that's I'm definitely having fun with that. So I can't
Mm-hmm.
complain there. And like you said, like it's a nice tight clean loop as far as getting all your gear and preparing. And there's a point to it. There's like a it feels like there's a course and a reason to do the gear to go towards something else. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm having a blast with that. Can't complain.
Except for the part on Tuesday where you ditch all of the main story to go do the island.
That's right.
Hey, dude, you open the dungeon yet? The dungeon?
The what?
My island is rank 5.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
It's
Good times.
more stuff to craft. What's not to love? I went and scooped like a shit ton of minions off the market board that were like anything that was under 10K, which was like
Just to have for the
probably
island.
30 or
Yeah.
40 because I guarantee you as soon as that island drops, everyone's gonna be like, well, now I need
All those
minions.
prices.
Those prices are gonna go nuts if they haven't already.
Everything is.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I definitely scooped up a bunch of shit there for that. So I've got like 9 pages of minions now. I think I started the week with like 4. So,
Dude, now you gotta go play Lords of Verminion in the casino now. You
yeah,
become like a champion of that with all your minions because
I,
you probably have some good ones in there for that.
I'm here for it now. Yeah, I just got one. I just got the baby hippo out of the that dungeon me and Claire did last night.
Oh,
Vanispati.
Venisati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that drops.
Wow.
She got the orchestration roll out of that, and then someone else got the third rare job, but I couldn't remember what it was. So it was a
Yeah.
nice even spread. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny getting that
That's
minion there.
great.
All right, so let's talk about our sponsor. Handheld Legend. Head on over to handheldlegend.com/retrogamedude or use retrogamedude at the checkout. You get $10 off your first order. If you're into doing system mods like I am, like you're putting the funny playing color backlit screen in your Game Boy Color, they have them for like the Game Boy Advance, Neo Geo Pocket Color. I've done all 3, had a blast doing all 3 of them. Modernize your old consoles, buy some stands for them, display them, make your friends jealous, whatever. Handheld Legend has it all there. So head on over there, handheldlegend.com/retrogamedude or use retrogamedude at checkout. What is so funny? Did I say something
I just
stupid?
realized. No, I just realized what your background was. I didn't. I'm so used to seeing it. I didn't even think about it. And then I was like, oh yeah.
Oh man. So we've got some headlines. I started this as like a quick headlines thing, and it seems like this is just growing longer and longer every week, and we get more detailed more and more every week. So it's just headlines. So let's talk about the news.
Mm-hmm.
So first up, not too much has been really revealed about this, but we do have this coming around the corner. Big rumor that Tales from the Borderlands 2, now called New Tales from the Borderlands, will release October 21st. So that's coming up pretty quick. So I'd expect to see probably in one of these game conventions that we're talking about, or game showcases that we're talking about. I am very confident we'll probably see some footage of that coming up here soon.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of, there were some rumblings today. Cyberpunk 2077. This is actually a late edition here. That's why I highlighted it in pink. Cyberpunk 2077 expansion has been rumored to be revealed. The Cyberpunk's Twitter, they posted in German Cyberpunk expansion when. So obviously Gamescom being filmed live in Germany, they're definitely toying with it there. So I would say with confidence we'll probably see some news with the expansion here coming up in this week.
Yeah, sure.
And another rumor, Avatar, the last Airbender game coming out in November, will revolve around Order of the White Lotus after the 100 Years' War, which is great because it's it kind of fills in some of the gaps between Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, which is a pretty sizable amount of time that passes there. So it's nice to see something canon that's actually kind of filling in the gaps and kind of explaining what happened between those two stories. So I'm here for that. I'll definitely be looking into that. And who knows, maybe the achievements will be hold the B button and you get all the achievements. So, again, the original Avatar was pretty famous for having that. It was a hold down the B button to get a combo going, and you just sit there and windmill people, and it's the number goes up, and that's all the achievements in the whole game. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. I'm excited for that. I really enjoyed I never really finished the second series, The Legend of Korra, but I really enjoyed the first. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I did Avatar all the way through, didn't touch Korra, but I hear mixed things about Korra. I hear some stuff was good, some stuff was bad.
Right.
But yeah, no, I never got around to it though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I kind of want to go back, and I think the series is obviously way done now, so it's kind of one of those things where I watched Avatar all the way through in a couple sittings, and now that Korra's done, I can go back and do that with that too, and not wait. Because if a show's out and it's okay, I'm gonna binge watch the first season and then have to wait for the second season, it's gonna be so hard for me to get back to that.
Right. I mean, hey, dude, let me tell you, I did. I went back and watched Fooly Cooly with you last week,
Yeah.
and boy, that is definitely something to go back and watch as an adult again.
Oh sure. Yeah, that is a wild show. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
So we got some rumblings that Netflix is rapidly expanding their game offering. They are not exactly too successful right now with their current game offerings, which is just apparently in the Netflix app, you click on a game and it takes you to the Google Play Store. Less than 1% of the Netflix subscribers even use this. So obviously, not only are they failing with the marketing, but they're failing with the execution of this too. So,
right.
We'll keep an eye on this one. It'll be interesting to see what Netflix does with this, because I mean, a lot of people draw questions to it. It's when the first thing you hear was Netflix is getting into games. Well, what are you supposed to do? Play with your Roku remote? And it's people don't even know that it's for a mobile platform. So again, the caliber, we already know what the caliber of the mobile game market looks like now. So what's Netflix going to bring to the table that's going to really shake things up?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know.
There's it's far and few between that you see mobile games that are worth really dipping into, and even then they're usually some sort of weird lockup. What was the one on the Apple Arcade that we wanted to play and we couldn't? It was by the original Final Fantasy developer.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I got
and
it.
It's only on the arcade.
Yes, it's only on Apple Arcade. So, and yeah, what is that?
Yeah, and those are far and few between even then.
Right.
There's not many devs who actually make stuff like that nowadays.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Okay, what else do we have here? So Sonic Frontiers, the release date, DLC, and details and trailer was leaked accidentally by a merchandise promo. someone on Reddit looks like they dropped this information here. It was it was released on a Taiwanese e-commerce website. Cited a bunch of promotional gear that happened to have all of the I don't know if it was like a press kit. It kind of looks like a press kit, but I guess it had like a couple of release dates, had a trailer, all kinds of stuff. So obviously that all leaked. Can't play it here because DMCA. So go search around for it. It's out there. um, and we got a report from MPD that U.S. gaming revenue fell 9% during July, which is to be expected. And I think we've talked about it plenty of times here before, especially with like COVID coming to an end and people going back to work for better or for worse. Obviously, gaming became a lot more popular when we were all locked in our houses. I mean, we saw the retro games market just break through the ceiling. I remember going to my local game store, and it's like I wanted to pick up some Game Boy Color games or Game Boy Advance games, and they just had nothing. They were just like picked clean. They couldn't keep games in stock.
Right. I almost wonder if this is even. I'd have to look it up, but like, if you told me last year or the year before or like any year ever that gaming revenue fell 9% in the summer, I'd be like, yeah, nothing comes out in the summer. That doesn't feel that weird to me, I guess. Like,
there's always a summer lull, but this is like a kind of a year-over-year drop, which I guess is a little bit more.
Oh, okay, that's different then. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I thought about like in general there was a dip, and I was like, there's always a dip in the summer. But yeah, if it's year-over-year, then sure, definitely.
But they did note too that what's the game? Multiverses was at the top of the charts, a free game, but I guess because they had offered that entry-level package for a certain amount of money, that hit the top of the charts. So that's doing a lot better than I expected after seeing that beta. But maybe have you played it since the full game dropped? Is it?
No, I have not.
You haven't. Okay.
There was supposed to be patches to like there was a balance change and stuff. Some people got nerfed, some moves got switched up, but I have not touched it yet.
Did they nerf the sandwich?
Oh my god, I hope so. I hate that thing.
Oh man.
Oh man.
That's great.
I just it's one of those like I mean I don't want to go off on like a whole tangent about it, but like it would be wild if I could pick up Street Fighter and do like the Hadouken from Ryu, like a common move that people spam all the time as like a ground check for people, and it just tore through like regular armor on other characters' attacks because reasons. Like that's insane.
Right.
That's definitely not how that's supposed to work. I mean, maybe I guess Daimyo said there was like a charge mechanic to make the sandwich like a charged. I think when he's like Super Saiyan, he pulls like a sandwich that has like armor or like armor break, but it's like. I get that there's like a charge up to actually do that Super Saiyan thing, but once he's in that, the ability to just snap pull an armor breaks projectile and toss it is still dumb. Like, because there's definitely you'll definitely have openings to pull off the power up thing, and I think the delay time should be with the projectile, not with like the boost that makes the projectile really good. Because then like it's I don't know, it just feels bad. That's just me, I guess, but it just feels bad.
I totally agree. Yeah, it's I don't know. Hopefully there's some balance there. I mean, obviously it's doing something I didn't expect it to, and that's be successful. So I'm guessing they must have fixed and balanced something. After I got some first glances at the game, I was like, no, that's A, not for me, B, doesn't look great production value wise. I wasn't impressed with it, but I guess they cleaned it up a lot, so good for them. All right. So we also had a big announcement here from Sega just recently. The Sega Genesis Mini 2 that was announced, not announced, but the trailer announced that all the games were announced. That went live for pre-order too. So I'll just go over a couple of the games here. The trailer's going to play. Of course, we have Truxton here, which is a great exemplification of the synthesizer on the Sega Genesis. A very tinny sound in that entire game. But yeah, go over the couple of games here. Afterburner 2, Alien Soldier, Earthworm Jim, which was probably one of my favorite games on the console. Fatal Fury, Golden Axe 2, Hellfire, Lightning Force, Outrun, Outrunners, Phantasy Star 2, good old Populous, Rainbow Islands Extra, Rolling Thunder 2, Shining Force 2, Sonic 3D Blast is going to be on there, Splatterhouse 2, Streets of Rage, Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers. And we have Toe Jam and Earl, Vector Man 2. What else do we have here? And a couple Sega CD games. I was really hoping that they were going to lean in to the Sega CD a little bit harder. So Echo the Dolphin, the Sega CD version, Echo Tides of Time, another Sega CD version, Final Fight CD, Mansion of Hidden Souls, the famous Night Trap, the game responsible for the ESRB ratings we have now, Sewer Shark, so you can save your 10 million pounds of tube steak, Shining Force CD, Sylphied, which is probably one of the best looking games on the Sega CD, Sonic the Hedgehog CD, of course, because who doesn't love motion sickness because so many colors on game, and the Ninja Warriors. So it looks like they're going to include some bonus games too, and I don't know if they've announced all of them, but it looks like Puyo Puyo, definitely not Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Deviant P, Star Mobile, and Fantasy Zone. They're all going to be on there too. This is going to retail at $99 plus shipping. It is on Amazon. I did manage to scoop one. I don't know if it's still available. It's nice too because this will have a 6-button controller. And if you're watching the trailer or listening to that game list I went through, they are heavily leaning into the arcade aspect of the Sega Genesis there, which, I mean, it makes sense. You have to justify having that 6-button controller there in the first place. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this, so I'll be looking forward to that. That's dropping in October. So yeah, let me know down below if you managed to get one or if you are interested in getting one. Let us know in the comments down there. What else do we have here? Oh, Slime Rancher 2. That is going to be coming to early access on Steam September 22nd. Have you gotten a chance to play the original?
Which game was it?
Slime Rancher?
No, I have not.
If you get a chance, play it. It's great.
I think I have Slime Rancher on something. Maybe it was free on Epic and I got it.
That was a thing.
I think that's where I have it.
Yeah, if you get a chance to play that, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely check that out. 100%. So, yeah.
Definitely.
I always recommend that. It's not like a huge headline, but I like the game myself. That's why I kind of threw it in there. I'm sure there's some other people out there that definitely enjoyed that game too. Embracer Group, they're at it again, buying up a bunch of studios this week. So I think the first one I heard was about limited run games. I think you brought it to my attention. But they also bought up Bitwave Games, Geotech, Middle Earth, the games are the studio responsible for basically all the Lord of the Rings games. So that's Middle Earth Enterprises, Singtrix, Tatsujin, Tripwire Interactive, and Tuxedo Labs. Now the limited runs games one is pretty big news. It probably doesn't feel upfront, but if you remember, we talked about the Carbon Engine a couple weeks ago, or was it even a couple months ago now? The Carbon Engine is the in-house software that they designed to help port older retro games or games in general to ease of access to for physical release. So with Embracer's catalog, including all shit ton of old retro games and stuff, I wouldn't be shocked if they had their eyes on that Carbon Engine so that they could port a lot of their old IPs to current gen. So I'll be interested to see what happens with that. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. So I would love to see them, because they have like a massive catalog. This game, I don't think people realize how big Embracer Group is now, but yeah, 100%.
You think Embracer Group maybe did that move to like start doing limited run of Embracer games instead of partnering with them? They just took them in.
It's very possible, because I mean, limited run does have a good distribution setup, but I think their main goal was just that Carbon Engine. That was a big deal, for limited run to even have that. So yeah, I guess we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens with it. But yeah, that's pretty big news. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. Next up, I was going to put this under kind of like a cool mentions thing, but since the back end of the show is going to be pretty heavy on other stuff, I figured I'd just kind of throw it up here. But let's take a look here. So we have a fan-made Futurama hit and run. It's called Hit and Run, Shut Up and Take Our Money.
Oh my god.
Me too. This is great. So I guess this is like a fan-made build.
Awesome.
They took the original Simpsons Hit and Run,
Oh,
rebuilt,
just like old times.
rebuilt it so that it's basically Futurama characters, Futurama vehicles in a Futurama setting. It even nails a lot
That's insane.
the cell shade look to it too. This is great.
That's funny.
Yeah, I got to have this. So I'll definitely be looking at this.
Let's
Maybe
put
we'll
on a
play it on
show.
stream. But yeah, I love Futurama exceptionally more than
My
The
God,
Simpsons.
that poor kid.
And
Oh yeah, agreed.
this looks
Shut up and
great.
take my money.
Again, I can't play the audio in here just in case, but they take a lot of clips of like one-liners from the show and append them to obviously the characters. So it's very very cool.
I've never seen anything so
Wild.
mind-blowing.
Did you ever play Hit and Run?
No, but I've seen footage of it before
Sure.
a few
Now
times.
that's
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah, so we'll be keeping an eye on
That's
that.
funny.
That's awesome. So, yeah, definitely interested in that. We got a real weird one, and I guess we just got an announcement that Sunsoft is returning to game development with a rather strange announcement here. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Sunsoft?
What's up?
What is Sunsoft?
Sunsoft is an old NES developer. They haven't published a game in years. I thought they were owned by like Konami or Capcom or something. So this is like the announcement here, and like I guess the head of Sunsoft gets on in this like VTuber setup, talks about some games. They announced a game. Oh, what the hell is it called? It's a game from Japan. They're saying, yeah, Sunsoft is back, and they're releasing a game called Ik Unite. And
Icky Unite?
yeah, this is an NES era game, and I think they even joked about how it wasn't a good game back then. So it's just such a weird take.
Okay, so let me get this straight. The business plan here was bring back a company that hasn't made anything good in 30 years.
Uh-huh.
On the back of bringing back a game that didn't do good 30 years ago.
Right. Yeah. But they're also releasing a couple other games that are more tuned to looking like, basically look more like, old NES games.
Hang on.
Yeah.
This game looks like, first off, this game looks like Kirby meets like Mega Man stages.
Well,
And
there's a lot of software limitations with the NES.
and the name of the game was Gimmick.
Maybe it's self-aware. I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, if there's a time to do this for Sunsoft, it's probably now, where retro-style games are kind of a hit. You see games like Shovel Knight do gangbusters. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Question. Why does this dude look like he's challenging me to a gym battle?
Dude, I have no idea what's going on here.
He looks like a gym leader.
He does. He's probably...
Champion Sunsoft wants to battle.
Yeah, man. It's pretty wild. So they're showcasing another game here. Even has like the side screen tearing on the right side, which is pretty wild.
Oh
Here.
yeah, look at that. That's so funny.
Where it's
man.
like plotting out sprites and stuff.
Do you
Just
think
like the classic Nintendo. Look at that gate. Oh, look at that boss battle and gate close. Definitely not reminiscent of
Dude.
Mega Man at all.
do you think they actually like didn't have the money to buy new development equipment, so they just built this on whatever engine they had
Oh,
from the NES days?
I don't know if this is just... I'll have to look into this more. I have a feeling that this is just like a development wing of a larger company, and they just happen to own the Sunsoft name. Because last time I checked, I'm very sure that Sunsoft was either owned by like Capcom or Konami.
Right.
Because these companies just don't fizzle out and just not exist anymore, and then you come back and be like, okay, let's dust off the computers and get back to work. It doesn't work like that. So
Right. Yeah. Classic game publisher Sunsoft will try again.
But I will say, Sunsoft had some phenomenal titles back in the day. So I don't know if they capture the retro feel and the nostalgia just right. I think they'll be able to pull something off here. It's the game that we saw, that Ik Unite. Wasn't impressed with that
yeah.
whatsoever. I mean, it looked like mobile shovelware. Let's face it. But
Were you a better fan of Gimmick?
yeah, 100%.
That's funny. Um, and Euphoria, a Metroidvania. Okay, all right. I won't argue with that. If it's a Metroidvania, I'm fine with it.
There you go. But it looks like
I
it's
don't.
development at least for the Switch and PS4. So it looks like they're focused obviously more towards Japanese market. Excuse me. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. So
No, absolutely.
wild stuff. Yeah, I watched that today. I watched it like 3 times. I'm like, is this real? I just like this. I don't know. It was
Hey, worst
definitely
case scenario,
yeah.
the president of the company could just stream his own games like that.
It's true.
Oh man.
Oh man. All right. So last a quick headline of the day. Toys for Bob made a tweet this week. And they took a picture of their wall with all of the games that they've made here, numbered them all, kind of splayed them out here, and they're kind of alluding to a new game here, or at least two. They basically said, "Thanks for playing along. How many did you guess correctly? You know, it's pretty convenient that we have more wall space to cover. ... Winky face." And then, obviously, alluding that they have the 18 here in question marks. So, this is them just kind of like kicking the stones around, saying that they have a new game in development. A lot of people speculating that it's Spyro 4. Some people asking for more Skylanders, which is just Spyro 4 lore. And
Right.
but yeah, it would be cool. I think the one thing that's missing on the Switch is a kind of a good Skylanders game. I think they had one for like release at the beginning of the Switch's life, like 10 minutes. It was a very limited run, and now it's a very rare game. But yeah, a proper Skylanders game probably wouldn't be too bad for it. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that kind of enter this space again. And but yeah, it might be a Spyro 4 game too. That's obviously something that the gaming market is definitely in need for here too.
I think you're being too narrow. I think it could have been the sequel to Disney Extreme Skateboarding, or
The
it could be a
what?
follow up to. You didn't see on that list?
Mm-mm.
They had Disney Extreme Skateboarding. They had Dokatsu Haisu Hatsuniku Doki Doki Club. They had. It could be a follow up to one of those. It could be a sequel to
Madagascar. A Madagascar sequel.
Yeah. All kinds of titles on there. A lot of stuff to delve deep on. Oh man.
I mean, they do have 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue. What if they did
Right.
103 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue 2?
They could also do 101 Dalmatians. Oops, one of them got out the door.
Oh,
I don't know.
oh man, 100 Dalmatians. A couple of them got out into the street.
Oh my god.
All right.
85 Dalmatians. We had bills to pay.
Jesus
They were sold to people. Relax.
right.
They weren't made into a coat. Alicia's looking at me from the kitchen with this face. Like, what are you doing in there? She came out to like get something, and she's just like, "What is happening?"
Not that we're behaving in here.
Oh yeah.
Just doing guy stuff. All right, so let's dig into the meat and potatoes of the show here. A huge amount of game showcases coming up here in the next month or so. The first up is the Gamescom showcase. That is in 2 days, August 23rd through the 28th. It's going to be a mix of games and reveals, which Jeff Keighley talked about. Basically, I would say probably like a half and half split of games we already know about and probably some new games that'll be announced. They're going to be more specific with Sonic Frontiers, and I'm guessing the leak that we already know about will basically be announced then. They have Gotham Knights, Hogwarts Legacy. They're all going to be talking about those games. Unknown Worlds will be revealing their new sci-fi strategy game, so I'm excited for that. The creators of Subnautica. Quantum Knights, a new PC looter shooter. That looks pretty phenomenal. And, of course, Goat Simulator 3 footage. So I'm there for that as well. So, yeah, that's going to be going on for 5 days there. That will be coming in live from Germany. Let me take a look here. And I guess... Are we going to get any Capcom information? Let me see here. So we have opening night. That's going to be like a big, kind of like I guess like the big feature showcase, and then we have some future game show that'll be on Wednesday, Xbox Live's booth on Thursday, and Awesome Indie Show on the 26th. So yeah, I'm there for it. Gamescom confirmed that 2K, 505, Bandai Namco, Hoyoverse, Koch Media, Tencent, NetEase, Sega, Tales Worlds, Team 17, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, and others will be in attendance. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, definitely.
What else do we have here? The Disney Marvel Showcase. That will be September 9th. That will start... It starts September 9th, goes on till the 12th, and that'll start at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and obviously they'll be streaming on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. So they're going to be talking about the big hits that I guess they're kind of focusing on here. They said there's going to be some Lego Star Wars DLC. They're kind of talking about Disney Dreamlight Valley. Are you familiar with Dreamlight Valley at all? That you can? I'm not. I just wanted to...
Yeah. It's... I don't want to say Animal Crossing because it's not quite that, but it's very similar. Like, you go to this place and you set up like a town thing, and the whole game is like doing objectives to help the Disney people who live there. And there's like fishing, there's like solving problems and puzzles, there's like clothing stuff where you make your clothing or you dress your character. There's all kinds of like it's probably very much just Animal Crossing, but like all Disney. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those like the kids saw it and they thought it was cool. It's not for me. It's probably not for you.
Probably not.
But it's if you're looking for, if you're already a fan of Disney property and you like the idea of like existing in a Disney world with the characters and helping them out and stuff and building the kingdom, and you don't like the mobile game that is already basically building the kingdom except it's a theme park and you'd rather it be like an actual place where they live, then that's that for you.
Fair enough.
It seems cool. It's probably gonna be like a 6 out of 10. Like,
Sure.
They won't go crazy with it. A lot of it will be phoned in, I'm sure. But
imagine if they would. Like, imagine if they could do like something that's like comparable to like an Animal Crossing, but they use all of like, Disney's IPs. I mean, they could really do something cool with that. But
you could for sure. But you know what I mean? It's probably like, not to like harp on it, but it's like it's probably going to be like crafting is going to be a 1-button craft button. Fishing is going to be like push button to reel in fish. It'll be like wait for Mark, and then like Mark shows up and you're like, you caught fish, like, or whatever. Like, sure. It's, and I don't know. Maybe that is even how Animal Crossing does it. I have no idea. But I don't expect this game to be breaking boundaries or coming up with interesting new systems. It's going to very much be whatever exists already.
I mean, they could do like an Animal Crossing scale game with like all of the movies that they have, and like have like a where like each neighborhood is its like own world. Like you have like a Tarzan world. You have I don't know, like a Tron world. You could do all that. You have you start with a guy who has like a key, and you just unlock all these worlds. And you go to different ones. You can even do something like the Gummy Bear ship. Ladies and gentlemen, he left. I love it. I love it.
Oh boy, I don't know why it took me that long to think that's where you were going with that.
That was glorious. That was glorious. I know I could get you strung along on that one. I knew it. So anyway, let's talk about the big three here. So Marvel, Star Wars, and we have I guess partnership showcase here, kind of split into three here. So with Marvel, they actually said that they were going to show some Midnight Sun stuff, which is great, because we did see that it was delayed indefinitely like a couple weeks ago. So it's, I don't know. Well, maybe the indefinitely was a little bit hasty. So yeah, I'm excited for that. That'll be definitely cool to see that that's still in development. So
yeah, they gave us one trailer and one mini showcase of like how the game is going to work, and I was very happy to see them be just outright with it, because like it's very rare these days, it feels like, where you have a game just straight up be like, this is exactly what these systems are going to look like, and this is exactly what you'll be doing, because they don't want people to have that sort of, I don't know, is it fair to say that a lot of game companies don't want to give the whole game away up front because they kind of want people to get into it without seeing what they might not like? they gave us like a straight up sample of the game. They showed us the card mechanics, the combat mechanics, the way it's gonna all fight. They
Mhm.
talked about living at the mansion with the characters and interacting with them, doing stories with them, learning abilities from them, putting them on your teams, and doing all this stuff. They gave us a whole thing about what the story was about, like why it was what it was, and who your character is. They opened that game up in a really nice way, like almost what I would expect. Like it almost felt like to me what they probably pitched to like the people for funding, right? Like an
Mhm.
actual dissection of their product that you would show internally to people like stakeholders, not to like customers. So it's really cool of them to do that.
Sure.
And everything that I saw looked great. I was very excited for what it seems like it's going to be. But yeah, I really respected them for actually coming out and doing that because it feels like you never get that with games anymore. You get
Right.
visual trailers, 3D graphics.
Yeah, after like I don't know how
It
many
doesn't
years
happen.
we've seen like we get those like CG trailers and stuff for games, and it's like it's almost worse now than it was in like the early mid late 2000s.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and it's like you have games that look beautiful now, and it's like why wouldn't you want to show that off? Like you don't need CGI trailers anymore. That's nuts to me. I don't know.
well, yeah, and like we see, like how many times do we see, like an article comes out a year down the road, and they're like, "Oh yeah, remember that trailer of Anthem from that E3? It was totally fake."
Right.
Cool. They're like, "Oh, remember this gameplay trailer? Yeah, it was all done in house. It wasn't actually gameplay. It was like an engine running like a movie." And you're like, "Okay, cool, great, thanks." Like, you're not even playing the game that you're telling us you're playing. Like,
Right.
yeah.
It's
So it's
almost
nice
like
to
it's
see them just be like, "No,
fraud
this is how it
and
works." And
misleading the shareholders.
yeah, exactly. So it's very cool to see them just sit down and be like, "We're going to be straightforward with you. This is exactly what this game is going to be. It's going to be card based. If you don't like cards, it's not for you. If you don't like tactical combat where you can push people around and take turns and do that, it's not for you." Like it was cool to
Right.
see them do all that and lay it out.
Yeah, I get people's apprehension on the card thing, and even like
Sure,
going back as
yeah.
far as like Chain of Memories on the Advance. I had apprehension playing it, and I picked it up, and I loved it.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely.
it's
Well, 'cause,
just
like
a different flavor.
I think you know what it is. I think people. I mean, I could write a whole thesis on this. I feel like so. I'll be short about it, but I think people have an association between card games
Mhm.
and bad luck because
Yes.
when we grew up with card games, you had poker, you had rummy, crazy eights, whatever these different card games people made up with poker decks,
Mhm.
and poker decks have very strict odds, right? Like it's very like your odds of getting this draw are 4 in 52 tops, 1 in 13, less than 10%. Um, and so when people think of like playing poker and playing rummy and playing these old games, unless you're like a professional player at these types of games, you're just used to getting bad draws and bad beats all the time because statistically that's what's going to happen.
Sure.
If you're playing Texas Hold'em and you sit down at the table and you flip, pocket kings against pocket aces, yeah, you can get a king, but the odds are not in your favor. The odds of him getting ace are just as high as your odds of getting king, and he beats you without that odds. So he's already got you dead to rights anyway. And you'll flip all, you'll do the flop and turn the river, and it'll be like, oh, it didn't go my way. And you'll have these like associations of like card games being either complicated or unlucky or both.
Hmm.
So when you think about playing a card game, it just sort of has a negative connotation, I think,
Sure.
unless it's a specific game you like. And even people who play like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh have those negative connotations sometimes because
Of
those
course.
games rely on your deck building and your skills and your opponent's skills and your opponent's deck building and random chance and flukes. And even like Magic has the mana system that can really screw you over if you're not used to it, or like
Yeah.
different games have different problems with resources. But then you sit down and play something like Slay the Spire, where the experience is curated. It takes advantage of the digital space by doing things behind the scenes to make it more dynamic for you and less bad feeling for the player.
Hmm.
And I think you'll end up in situations where, like, because like what they showed us with the Marvel game, it looks like you'll never have like nothing to do. You'll never like
That's where I think a lot of people have
riff
reservations
completely.
with.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like your turn might not always be like, and I think it's interesting because a lot of problems in these types of RPG games is like, I remember one of the big problems for Final Fantasy Tactics for me was you would get characters with good abilities, and then you would never have any reason to use non-good characters or non-good abilities. You'd
Hmm.
get like Agrias with the Holy Sword mechanic, and you would be like, dude, I'm just going to run around and spam her Holy Sword mechanics because she does like, a 3x3 plus shape of damage on a bunch of dudes all at once.
Oh yeah.
Why would I use anything else for her? Why would I
Right.
attack with her? Why would I do her other abilities when that one ability is gross.
Mhm.
You know, you get Gafgarion, and Gafgarion will just Night Sword people to death.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, why would I not use Night Sword? It's the best move he has, and it kills people from 8 blocks away or whatever. Like, so it's interesting to actually force the player to be like, for this turn you can attack, or do this one specific mechanic, or do this one specific mechanic. And you actually have to pick from the options you're given instead of just spamming the good shit.
Right. I
And
mean,
it
and the flip side too is like
right?
you might pull a card that's like this. This is like the card I'm looking for. This is the card I wasn't even expecting to have. That is going to basically end this game, and I'm good for it.
Not just that, but you have like you have some hand in crafting because you can do those missions with the characters of the mansion and like earn stuff to put in your deck that's based on what you want. You get
Sure.
to sort of craft your deck like you would in a traditional card game.
Right.
But then on top of that, like you said, you can have actually like broken cards. Like if you or you play a game like Magic Arena and they make something broken, it's a problem, right? Because everybody stacks it up and uses it. Everybody in your fire team's got that rocket launcher. Everybody on your Magic Arena is playing that one card that's broken. But in this game, if you could make a card that's unbalanced as hell, but then it gets shuffled into your 40 card pile and you only draw 5 cards a turn, so you're only going to see it 12% of the time. So it's okay that it's broken because you're not going to be slamming that ability every turn for the rest of the game. You're going to have to wait until you see it. But when you see it, it feels awesome. You're going to be playing as Iron Man.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're going to rip like the super repulsor beam, and you're going to be like, fuck yeah, and you're going to slam it on the table, and you're going to light up 3 dudes with a repulsor beam, and it's going to feel badass, right? Like, way more than it would if you were just spamming that every turn, and yeah, I get it, repulsor beam. How many times have we played Final Fantasy-style games, like turn-based RPGs, where you get someone who's really good, and then every random encounter turns into, like, random encounter, and it starts, and then you're just like, Thundaga, and he's like, and kills everything, and you're like, yeah. And then you're like, come on, I don't want to do these encounters anymore. Like, that sucks, right? Because you're just like, you're waiting for them to be over, right? But you won't have that problem. You'll be able to actually dynamically look at a situation, and when you see Thundaga, it's going to feel badass, because you're going to be able to be like, oh yeah, dude, awesome, and then drop it on him. I think it solves that problem in a unique way, without feeling bad, because you always have options. It'd be one thing if you just whiffed, and sometimes you drew like basic attack, defend, use item, and you're like, oh, all these suck. But it seems like there's always a good selection of different abilities to use. I mean, I guess that maybe that your deck building skills comes into play somewhere, but I feel like they wouldn't give you a bunch of dead cards. They're going to give you all things that matter to some extent.
Exactly.
It's really unique, like from a game design perspective, how it gives you the ability of having that what's that called? That thing that you get in like Mega Man, where it's like you're the badass and you're getting stronger, right? Like you get that out of this game because you get better cards and you slot those cards in yourself. But it doesn't ruin it by being like, here's all your good shit, go be a badass 24/7, because then it gets boring, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's really interesting. I guess I have not seen a game use cards like this in a long time. I guess maybe Slay the Spire does it, and there's a few other ones that are unique. But like coupled with the Marvel franchise, it feels like you're going to get some Destiny style, Final Fantasy 14 Limit Break style, crazy Ultimate shit mixed in, and it's going to feel awesome. I think it's going to be a good power fantasy to play as these characters in this game.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't imagine why they would make a game where it's like a turn would feel bad, because I mean, let's say you have like a bunch of cards and like they just don't work. That feels terrible. Why would they make a game like that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the case. And plus, it's a game unlike most power fantasy games where like let's be honest, we play Destiny and we play Final Fantasy and we play these other games, and most of the time you're rewarded for being strong or having good gear. But this is a game that's unique because you get rewarded for being tactical and intelligent. You get to make smart decisions about where people are in the battlefield, where obstacles are, environmental damage objects, and you'll be rewarded for like getting a skill that pushes an enemy and pushing one dude sideways into the path of like Wolverine's big claw blitz that ends in like an explosive barrel. It'll feel awesome to have put that puzzle together. Like you'll be looking at like a chessboard style puzzle and being like, how do I move these pieces in a way that wins me this match? And I think that's really cool too, because you don't get that combined with power fantasy often, because they're kind of opposite ends of a spectrum, right? Because power fantasy is usually like running around being a badass, and tactical stuff is usually slow, collected, cold thinking, looking at a room and being like, what do I do with this room? Now you kind of get a little bit of both, right? Like you can set up a smart move, and then that smart move is just this big badass wave thing happening. Like it just seems really cool.
Yeah, I'm
It's a very unique property for me. I think it's. I can't wait to get my hands on this game. Just this is one of those games where I kind of want to play it more as a developer. I want to dig into it and really see how they made everything tick.
Yeah,
because it seems really cool.
Yeah, I totally agree there. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm really excited for that as a concept. It's really cool.
Hey, it's better than just banging off this list one by one. I'm here for it. That's what this show's for. That's good. I'm glad to see that they are talking about this game. They are going to show us something here. Hopefully, we'll get some more information as to when we may see this game release. Hopefully, I don't know. I kind of got the impression that they were kind of going back to the drawing board with this game, but we'll see. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the other thing, I hope this game comes out and does really well.
Of course.
Because from considering everything I've seen about this game and what we've talked about, I feel like this game could have been another just mobile game with paywalls and shitty energy systems and locked behind all that stuff.
Yeah.
It very much feels like it could have been that, and it's not, right? Like, this is exactly what we always talk about with mobile games, where, like, if they just slapped a price tag on it, put it on a console, stripped out, like, the stuff that makes you want to spend money on it, it could be a good game, and it feels like that's what this is. It feels like this
100%.
easily could have been another Marvel Strike Force or another Disney Mirrorverse or another whatever, all these little mobile games that have these big franchises attached, and they're the same shitty build your squad, fight enemies, oh, look, you have energy, oh, look, you have currencies. Like, they skipped all that with this game, and I really hope that people are receptive to that, and it does really well to steer them away from this kind of property just getting tossed in the bin as another mobile game, because it feels like it really could have been. And I almost feel like this what it started out as, and I feel like the developer of the project or one of the leads was like, please let us do a real project with this. It will work. And they said, all right, fine, do it. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's the vibe I get from it. I get, like, it feels like a mobile game that they, like, it's the Pinocchio story for me. It feels like it was like they wanted to make it a real game, and they got the green light for once. And I kind of feel like it's going to hinge on this. Like, if this game does gangbusters, they might be like, maybe we don't do the Disney Mirrorverses and the Diablo Immortals, and we go towards console shit again because it's where the money is.
100%.
Who knows? Yeah.
Oh, you're preaching the choir, but 100%.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I have a phone, OnePlus 7 Pro, and the thing's powerful as shit. It's liquid cooled. The thing has a liquid cooled processor in it.
Well, there you go.
But I have nothing to play on it, so it just sits here, and it's like it's just Snapchat and crap. Because there's like, show me a good mobile game. They just don't exist.
Right.
I don't know, but I mean, with the exception of using it for Stadia to play like console games on it, what else is there for this? I don't know.
Right. See, mine doesn't have a water cooler, but I do water cool it. I throw it in the sink sometimes.
Nice. That's good.
After I'm done
good
with
for
it. You know.
Nice. Wash it off at the end of the day. Fuck it.
I paid for the waterproof rating, so I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use the whole rating.
I drop mine in my fish tank once in a while. Let them watch the movies. Oh my
god, you put on Finding Nemo and throw it in the fish tank.
Nice.
Oh no.
So I guess let's talk about some like possibilities here. So there's some rumors or some ideas or some possibilities that we could see some announcements with Marvel. Spider-Man 2 could be there. Wolverine, we already know, is in production, and we know there's heavy rumors that a Black Panther game is in production too. So we could see any of those three or all three there. There is a new Marvel Ensemble game, so that's coming from Skydance. It's rumored it could be the Defenders, it could be Fantastic Four, it could be X-Men, or it could be A-Force. And with the catalog and IPs that Disney owns now, it could be any of those. I think the mention of A-Force is interesting because it's basically an all-woman adventures, pretty much led by She-Hulk, and I think the timing of that is interesting, especially with Disney dropping the She-Hulk show on.
Sure.
So, but we didn't really see any plans for A-Force, at least that I remember, in the roadmap for the Marvel movies. So you would think that would all coincide. So I don't know. It's interesting. Could go either way there. But yeah, that's...
I don't believe they actually recognize that in any meaningful capacity. However, if you think about the trajectory of some of the shows and the movies, We have She-Hulk. We already had in Endgame. They did give us like a glimmer of like all the girls were
Yes,
like
they kind of
pushing
get like
Gauntlet at one point.
right.
But if you think about it, Hulk passed his hammer. I haven't seen the new Thor film, but I know that Natalie Portman's character picks up the hammer and becomes the mighty Thor, right?
You
or
should
something.
see the movie.
I'll have to see it.
Yeah.
But the on the larger scope of things, we have that happening.
Mm-hmm.
We have Hawkeye training his replacement, who is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
We have this thing happening with She-Hulk's show, and Ironheart is coming down the road, and Ironheart is also a female successor to Iron Man. So I guess pieces could be lining up to do that.
Sure.
I didn't think about it.
Captain Marvel is due for a movie, I think.
Well, plus the Marvels, is a thing coming,
right?
And it's Captain Marvel, the girl from Miss Marvel, and the character's name escapes me, but if you watched WandaVision, I won't mention that because spoilers for WandaVision. There's a character named Monica Rambeau who gains powers during the events of WandaVision, who was also a companion of Captain Marvel.
Is it the
there's plenty of
the chick that looks like a galaxy? Like I can't remember.
I'm not sure because I'm not familiar with Monica Rambeau's character outside of the MCU, so I don't know who she was in comics or anything like that. But I know she was someone who was a companion of her. And in the show, she didn't have powers. And it was one of those like, okay, she's supposed to have them, and then she gets them in WandaVision, and you're like, I see, okay, this is her origin story kind of thing. But so with Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Ironheart, Lady Thor, Mighty Thor, I think it's Mighty Thor, but again, I haven't seen the movie, so I couldn't tell you what they call her. And the new Hawkeye replacement. And She-Hulk. I mean, pieces are definitely in place to make that happen. Yeah.
Interesting.
Notwithstanding, they already had some of these places because, like they said, Endgame already had a plethora of them to work with for that kind of moment they had. So there's no reason they couldn't continue that and like down the line or whatever.
Nice. Well, I know I'm gonna catch shit for this, but because I'm not deep into the Marvel stuff, but I enjoy it. But I think Monica Rambeau is actually going to be a Captain Marvel variant. She is another Captain Marvel, basically.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Okay. See, in the show, I think
Earth
she gets
616.
Interesting. Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about the whole because Doctor Strange's movie was about other multiverses being involved,
right.
The multiverse theory, and. Who did we see there? We saw America Chavez, the girl that can pull portals between those realms. She was a main character there as well. So she's a newer Marvel hero who has just discovered or awakened her powers recently.
Nice.
So yeah, if they want to do that kind of thing, there's definitely a lot of options for them to do that. I cannot wait to read the angry internet comments. Oh boy. Stay mad, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. I see. Disney's been sitting on X-Men for a minute. We have not seen or heard anything since they've acquired Fox Studios. So,
wait, did you watch Doctor Strange?
I didn't.
There's an X-Men cameo in there.
I know.
Okay.
Professor X is in there.
Yeah. Okay. I just figured that, and Reed Richards was like, I think they're teasing they're moving into those projects now.
Well, I mean, they've officially announced a Fantastic Four movie, so I mean, we know that much. But again, I would have loved to see X-Men, and it wouldn't have worked timing wise, but I would have loved to see the X-Men at the end of Endgame. But
Endgame, absolutely. Yeah. It would have been nice.
That and Fantastic Four, but again,
we're moving into
right.
Yeah, of course. If we're moving into Secret Wars, that could definitely be a thing. Because I mean, I imagine the goal of the whole moving into Secret Wars would eventually be to have another Endgame style movie with a big culmination of the heroes working together again. Because that's what people love, right? People love those moments. That's why Endgame is Gamebuster. Yeah. So I think that's what we're circling back around to.
Right. Okay, so let's move on. So we still have the Sega Star Wars to jump into. So we're expecting to see probably out of EA Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
We still haven't seen much on Zynga's Star Wars Hunters, which I guess is kind of like an Overwatch style-ish game.
Mm-hmm.
We also see there's a Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dreams that could be there. Star Wars. We have an open world title from Ubisoft. They're digging into open world games. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But and then we also have a Star Wars first person shooter from Respawn too. So that's a lot. I think we said before the show.
Yeah.
I think Disney has 8 to 10 Star Wars games in development right now. So I don't know if that includes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic remake or not, but yeah, so some other stuff that we could see there. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some stuff there for Kingdom Hearts 4 through Squeenix. Indiana Jones, that was announced like years ago, 2.5 years now.
Yeah, couple.
We haven't seen anything out of that from Machine Games yet. Avatar Frontiers, not to be confused with the other Avatar IP. That's I guess going to coincide with the movie that they're previewing now. That's another title out of Ubisoft. And then Alien Dark Descent out of Focus. We haven't really seen much out of them for much out of that project either. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that Disney, and this is I guess their first going at it. And I mean, looking at it at face value, is like, oh, what does Disney have to talk about as far as games? And it's like you quickly forget all their partnerships and all their IPs that they own now. Just from between Star Wars and Marvel alone, it's a shit ton of games. So
yeah,
we got that. So we have also Ubisoft Forward. So that is, oops, there we go. That is coming up September 10th to the 12th, and I guess they'll be talking about a possible info on Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. We know that's been in development hell for a hot minute, and I don't know. We'll see. There's going to be probably like an Assassin's Creed game, but there's also going to be Assassin's Creed Infinity, so they'll probably be talking about two Assassin's Creeds at once. And they don't really have much else going for them right now because they have so many games in development hell. And they're talking about, I guess, doing like a live service, like Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is I don't know why you'd ever want to. After Halo Infinite, you'd ever want to slap that name on the end of any game, but yeah, that's going to be a live service game. So yeah, what could go wrong putting an Infinite on the back of a live service game? I don't know.
Dude, I feel bad because I enjoyed BioShock Infinite, and now they've ruined the Infinite.
Yeah.
What's funny too? I think I read a few weeks ago. I want to say it was a Tassie article, but somebody wrote something talking about how like Assassin's Creed just feels like it's kind of like drifting, right? Like they used to have yearly releases and there was hype and they built up their thing, and then they did like one year they went to like, was it Origins, where they were like revamped it and it's more RPG now, and it was in Egypt and people were excited for that one because it was more of an RPG and it was a little different. And then then they went to the next one and then the next one, and then we had the Viking one is I think the last one, and it's like I know people talked about it before it came out, but it feels like that game just came and went, and nobody talked about it that I noticed.
Well, it's like, how many times can you do climb building, look at tower, add to map? Like, how many times can you do that over and over and over again?
Yeah, well, I think part of the problem was, like, that happened, and then, like, people stopped talking about the game, and then the game kind of just went quiet, but then they were like, hey, Assassin's Creed Infinity, it's a whole thing, it's a whole service and a whole system, and people were like, what does it do? And they were like, and then they were and we haven't heard anything, so we don't even know anything. So it's like, if you ask me the last Assassin's Creed product that came out, I'm going to tell you it's the Viking game, and I have no idea how it went, because no one talked about it. It wasn't even like, it was one thing when people were shitting on them for having bad takes or making bad games or something, but like, after they moved to Origins, I heard it was a lot better. And then they had like the one in Rome or something, and then they had the one in like Viking Land, and then it was like, okay, no one talks about you guys. I don't hear about it anymore. Like, other than you guys talking about your own game, nobody I know of is like talking about it. Like when Horizon came out, Horizon Zero Dawn, everybody was talking about it. Even when Halo Infinite came out, whether you loved or hated, people were talking about it.
Yeah,
the Assassin's Creed game just
absolutely
came
correct.
And went. Yeah. It was like, holy shit, I didn't almost know, I don't even know when it came out. I couldn't tell you what year it was or what season it was. Maybe it was holiday, probably holiday, but like, it just came and went, and nobody I know played it, and no one talked about it, so I have no idea. And then they were like, yeah, Assassin's Creed, we're announcing things, and it was like, what are you guys doing, though? And they were like, oh, we announced things. Infinite, it's coming. It's a thing. And you were like, what do I do with it? What is it for? And they were like, and if they did tell us what it is, and I'm looking like an idiot by not knowing, I never heard of what it is. They never, it never reached my ears in a meaningful way. And no one was talking
thing
about it.
I know of is that it's rumored to take place in Japan. So
it's a game?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a service. Like
I
thought it was like a whole service or something.
Well, it's going to be a live service. So I guess at least like the first part of this story is going to take place in Japan.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're going to do like the Destiny model where we get more storyline every couple of months or every year's no expansion. But yeah, or maybe it's just like an overhead service that unifies all of the games that have been out recently. I really don't know. I'm so out of the loop on Assassin's Creed, but again, because no one talks about it. The last time I talked to a friend about an Assassin's Creed game, I asked him if they wanted to play some Destiny. This was when Stadia first came out. He's like, no, I'm going to go play Assassin's Creed Origins on Stadia. And I'm like, okay. So that's it. That's all I've heard about it. I guess he said it. I don't remember if it was good or not, but I from what I hear, it wasn't a bad game, but it's one of those things where it's like, at some point, you can't do anything else with an IP, and you just got to let it go. But Ubisoft doesn't really have much else going for them, except for like Rainbow Six. But again, how many Rainbow Six games have there been since back to the PlayStation 1? So,
Assassin's Creed burned itself down for me, and
sure, it's stale, and it became a cash grab.
It's not even that bothered me. It was like story-wise, they burned me out in the story and made me not want to invest in it anymore.
Sure.
And I mean, it's subjective, obviously, like how maybe some people liked what happened with that game, and obviously spoilers for God knows how old Assassin's Creed 3 is. Or was it Black Flag? No, I think it was 3. You spent like the first several Assassin's Creed games, 1, 2, 3, and I believe Brotherhood, and what was the other one? There was another one like Brotherhood in there, like around 3 or before 3. Whatever, there was like 5 games leading up to 3. And all those games were about the modern day character Desmond, like learning his ancestry and inheriting the skills from them. Because remember, it was bleeding through the Animus into him, and he was learning how to be an assassin. And they were basically honing him to be a perfect day modern assassin.
We were all expecting.
They never did anything with it.
Yeah, we're all expecting to get a modern take on Assassin's Creed as him. And then, spoilers, but they fucking killed him off!
Yeah, dude, I was so mad about that because they were like, hey, we've been spending all these games talking about this guy and investing into this character. Yeah, and what was the point of his skills bleeding through the Animus if he wasn't going to use them ever? So it was like, okay, and I really feel like the intent was to make a game somewhere down the line where either part of it or all of it took place in the current day.
Yeah. Involving
that company and everything, and him in that company. And then they were just like, yeah, Desmond, like, he gave his life for a thing, and it was like, why did we do that? and then now I played like Black Flag, and they were like, yeah, we have like his remains, and we're still checking his ancestry, and I was like, but for what at this point?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, the game was like, oh yeah, forget all that.
Again.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I never finished 3, but I knew about the endings and stuff.
Yeah.
When I played Assassin's Creed 2 and finished it, and they were like, yeah, Adam and Eve are aliens and the sun's going to explode. I'm just like, what?
See, and the thing, I didn't even mind that too much. The thing that just killed me was after they killed off Desmond, it was like, they kept doing what they were doing, and I hated the games up to that point because the plot I cared about was the modern day story. And it was drip-fed through long segments of the actual Assassin's Creed games, which I didn't care that much about.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, I get it that this was building up for me to play Desmond, and I would have no problem eventually playing Desmond, but like I never got to do that. And up until that, I would have to play like several of hours of like Edward Kenway on the open seas, going places and doing things. And I'm like, this story doesn't matter to me because I'm here for Desmond's story. You guys have contrived this story for Desmond and breadcrumbed it, and it's interesting. That's what I pick up every Assassin's Creed game for when I play them, up until like 3. I was trying to get that story fleshed out.
Right.
And it got to the point where it was like, dude, it's easier to just watch a 5-minute YouTube video where the guy tells me what happened in the most recent Assassin's Creed game in the current story.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier by a mile. And that's because it's only 5 minutes of story. It'll be like an entire game where like the first 4 hours is like the past, and then you'll get 30 seconds of Desmond in a chair being like, "Wow, my ancestor was a badass," and you're like, "Yep, get back in there," and you get back in there, and it's like 4 more hours of like boats and like you're killing people, and I get it, and then you'll like get like a 30-second scene in the modern day where he's like, "Whoa, Adam and Eve were like aliens? That's crazy," and you're like, "Yep," and I'm like, "Oh my god, like can we do something with this story or something?"
Mm-hmm.
And then like he gets out of the chair one time, and then he's like, "Wait, so that's the thing that's happening today?" And you're like, "Yep." And he's like, "I better die for it." And then you're like, "Oh my god, I'm checked out."
Did they
Totally checked out at this point.
did they talk about the Sun alien shit in any of the other following Assassin's Creeds, or they just never talked about it again? Or
I don't know. The last one I tried to actually play was 3, and I got to the point where they were like, I don't think I even beat 3. I think I literally was like, I'm not playing 3 to the end because this sucks, and I'll just find out what happened. And the find out what happened was Desmond died. And I was like, okay, so I'm just not going to bother with Assassin's Creed ever again because they killed the character. And then like 4 came out, and I'm like, what are they going to do about that? And I looked up, like, I asked my friend, I'm like, what had happened in 4? And he's like, I don't know, I'm not done with it yet. So I looked up on Wikipedia, and it was like, Desmond's dead, and they're still using his DNA to look at his ancestors. And I was like, what the fuck for? Like, and I was like, okay, I'm checked out 1,000,000%. So I've never looked at, I haven't even bothered to read what they're about at this point, so I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I don't know either. I happened to get Assassin's Creed 3 because I guess someone discovered a price drop on Japan's Xbox Live where it was accidentally priced 3 in Japan. So everyone's like, go make a Japan Xbox profile account. You can get it for free then and download the American version. So that's exactly what I did. Played 4 or 5 hours of the game and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I couldn't get into it. Not at all. So.
Well, it's like there's so many. That's why they had to do the rehash with Origins, because so much of Assassin's Creed combat and exploring, it was innovative and unique maybe in the first game, but like, wow, does it really suck by the time you get to like 3 or 4 if you've been playing them?
Right.
Because like, dude, I walked into 3 and I was like, what's that? I'm fighting a group of 10 henchmen? I guess I'll just stand here and counter everything and kill everyone individually because they fight me individually and I can counterattack every single one of them. It was like playing a Batman game where it's like you drop into a group of people and they're like, it's Batman, and you're like, and then like the yellow thing comes over your head and you're like, counter that guy, counter that guy, counter that guy. And it's like, how is this engaging gameplay? Like, I'm literally pushing the button that lights up when it tells me to over and over. Like, come on. Yeah, I mean, at least like the older Assassin's Creed were like mostly about stealth. You really couldn't fight people, right? Like you'd get killed. That was the point. Same with the original Batman games. By the time you got to like Arkham Knight and Assassin's Creed 3, it was like, I can just drop down and fight people. I'm not really in danger from these people anymore. I can just fight them. And it kind of defeats the purpose of like a stealthy game. Like I'm supposed to be vulnerable to attack when I'm in the open.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a wash. And they knew that, which is why Origins had its whole thing change, because they also understood what they were doing. And like you said, it was copy paste shit. It was like, yeah, I get it. I go to a new area, I climb a tower. The tower shows me where I gotta go. Like I get it. Like that works in one game. If one game does that, that's fine. If like I'm on my 4th or 5th game doing that, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So if you missed the skullduggery of Assassin's Creed's Black Flag, Skull and Bones will probably be announced in Ubisoft Forward too. So all 3 people that are interested in that, congratulations. We'll probably see some Mario Rabbids sequel information as well. And I was watching Spawn Wave the other day, and he brought up something interesting too. We could possibly see a Far Cry spinoff. Because it seems like every other year, like we get a main game and then we get like a spinoff. So I would be definitely interested for that, but well, time will tell with this one. But yeah, hella interested in that. We'll keep an eye on that too. So obviously Ubisoft being Ubisoft, it's kind of a smaller thing. So we do have also the Tokyo Game Show coming up as well. That will be running September 15th through the 18th. This will be a little bit larger scale as well. Square Enix will be there, Capcom, Konami, Koei Tecmo, Sega Atlas, Bandai Namco, THQ Nordic Embracer Group, they will all be there. Capcom is they said that they're going kind of balls to the wall at this one. So they're going to have 2 live streams. I would expect one live stream just to be kind of like Street Fighter focused, going over characters. They'll probably do a couple more character reveals. And then I would expect probably like a small compilation of other titles that they're working on. We'll probably see something with the Mega Man compilation that I'm excited for, the Battle Network compilation, and probably a couple other things. And I guess they're going to have some PSVR booths there, and Kojima Productions said recently, I think even as early as today, that he will have a booth there as well for the VR stuff. So we saw him doing some editing on Twitter for some videos that he's releasing. We're not really sure what it could be. The Xbox game that he was talking about. It could be something for PlayStation. We don't know. So yeah, I would expect to see something big out of that. But yeah. I'm kind of interested to see what Square's going to announce. I'm wondering if what's that Forspoken? Maybe see something about the Forspoken game.
Right.
We saw an ad for them that didn't go over very well on Twitter. So,
Oh my god, yeah.
I don't know who their marketing team was, but it wasn't a terrible ad, but it was just like it wasn't great either. But yeah,
Right.
again, I don't know what Konami has to announce. Unless it's something with limited run games, or that they're going to be bought out by Embracer Group, because they will be obviously in the same under the same roof there. So maybe that'll be the big announcement. Konami, it's just like, hey, we're going to get bought out by Embracer Group, so someone else to actually do something with their IPs. That'd be nice. So,
At least it's something, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then Sega Atlas and Bandai Namco and Koei Tecmo, I'm sure we'll see some juicy RPGs coming out of them. So I'll be looking for that. Yeah, that's what we have going on with the Tokyo Game Show there. Anything you're hoping for?
I would like to see Capcom do something interesting with Mega Man,
Yeah,
but they gave us Battle Network coming back,
They
which
did.
that's great, but that also probably means that's the only thing they're going to do for like 2 years with it.
right.
Like we're not going to see another Mega Man thing for like 2 more years, and then it'll be like Mega Man 12 maybe.
I seem to have a good luck lobbying Mega Man stuff out of Capcom, so I will
Get on?
I will lobby Legends 3 for you.
Yeah. You want to get on Legends 3 for me? Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'd like to see something here. Who knows? Because it looks like Capcom's going to they're positioning themselves to steal the show here. I mean, most of these other groups here, we don't have like anything we would expect as far as huge announcements out of them. So, yeah, maybe besides having like a Street Fighter focus, they might have some new announcements too. You never know. Maybe they'll do like, hey, you know what? We just realized that Mega Man Legends 3 is a thing, and people like Mega Man. So, here's what I would hope: we see the Mega Man Battle Collection sell enough to say, hey, this is enough to justify still developing stuff for Mega Man.
No, absolutely.
I'd love to see it. So there we go. So that's everything.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I hate them in Mega Man because like ever since that whole thing where they were like they canceled 3 Mega Man games all back to back to back, and it was like, and then after that I don't know what we've ever gotten that mattered from them about it. I mean, I guess we got 9 and 10 since then, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
and 11, right? Because 11 was good.
Mm-hmm.
And what, the Zero Collection?
Yes.
The Zero Collection.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
So
all the
I
Game
guess-
Boy Advance games.
Yeah, I don't know. The Legends things baffles me because I'm pretty sure those were like, I guess they weren't good selling, but I'm pretty sure they're like cult classics. I don't think they ever did numbers on sales, but I think it's one of those games that like, as I became like in my like mid late 20s,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was suddenly like, oh yeah, those games were great, and everybody liked it, and it was like what do you call it? What's the other one that I was a fan of? Tumba. Do you remember that franchise?
Yes, with the horrible voice acting scripts and.
Yes. Holy shit, is it actually really fun as an adult? It's such a great game, but it's so bad, but it's bad in the good ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not bad to play or bad like clunky or annoying. It's bad like the quality was like just missing in some places that made it funny.
Sure.
But wow, it's like a cult classic though, because you go to like actually try to find that game anywhere, and everyone's charging like an arm and a leg for it because there's only so many copies,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's one of those things where it's like years down the road, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh yeah, we all loved that game. Like
Hidden
when
gem.
you were in high school
Hmm.
and like everybody picked on you for liking a thing, and then 10 years later, like Magic or something in middle school or high school, and then like 15 years later, everyone plays Magic. They play Arena, and you're like, I played Magic in high school. Remember, you guys all said it was stupid, and they're like, well, yeah, that was in high school, and you're like,
Right.
okay, cool. That's what Tumba feels like to me, and that's what Mega Man Legends feels like. It feels like everybody loves it now,
Don't you love
even
that
though it
shit
didn't
with like
like sell
Magic
or
the
whatever.
Gathering, and then like you're like, oh yeah, I used to be into that, and you guys used to shit on me, like, oh yeah, we're into the thing now too, and then they try to gatekeep you. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's wild. It's like D&D is like fucking normie shit now, dude. It's like everyone's playing D&D right now. It's wild.
yeah.
I'm
Well, it's like one of
glad.
those, like, I'm glad that it's there.
Hmm.
It's just funny to watch, like everybody like, oh yeah, Mega Man Legends, yeah, that game was great. And I'm like, did you buy it when you were younger? And like, no, I played it on an emulator 10 years later. And it's like, well, okay, what the fuck? Like nobody bought that game. It didn't sell. They stopped making it. Legends 3 got canceled or whatever. But now everybody wants that game, and now everyone's like everyone wants that game, but nobody like voted with their wallet, I guess, at the time. So it sucks.
Yep.
But that's what I was gonna say before about like Assassin's Creed was you had that situation where like for years people were like Assassin's Creed in Japan, Assassin's Creed in Japan, give us Assassin's Creed in Japan, and every year they'd be like, guess where we're going this year? You guys, it's places people have been asking for, and we're like Japan, and they're like somewhere like in Europe, and we're like, okay, great, next one, and we're like Japan, and they're like, it's Europe again, and we're like, oh my god, Japan, and they're like China, and we're like, okay, that's cool. I'm hoping that wasn't a response to people asking for Japan because that's kind of fucked up. Japan, please. And
Right.
they're like, Greek gods. And we're like, okay, how about Japan? And they're like, what if we gave you guys Britain, like, again, but different now? And we're like,
Right.
Japan. And they're like, what if we gave you guys Vikings? And it's like, Jesus Christ. Like,
Well,
put
this
us in
time we're going
Japan and
to
let
the
us be
east.
samurais and
Earn
ninjas and
Europe.
shit. Yeah, Eastern Europe. And it's gonna be like, yeah, you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna be like, we've heard you loud and clear over the years. We understand where you guys want to go, and it's gonna be like Russia, and we're
Yeah,
gonna be like,
we've heard you. It's like Russia.
we've heard the demands, and we're gonna bring you to that special island you've been asking for us to play on. And we're like, holy fuck, it's Japan. And then it's like Australia, and we're like,
Oh man.
Ubisoft. Who asked for Assassin's Creed Kangaroos? Oh my god.
Yes, we're going
Looking
to
forward to it.
we're going to the small island off the huge continent, Japan, Madagascar.
Assassin's Creed Cuba. Madagascar. It's like fucking lemurs and shit.
Yeah, is there any
There's no one on the
buildings
island.
on Madagascar?
There's like no people.
It's a giant nature reserve, isn't it? Because there's like so many
Assassin's
unique
Creed.
species there or some shit.
Assassin's Creed Antarctica, and it's like 8 people in a facility. It's basically like The Thing, but like Assassin's Creed. Okay, great.
Yep.
Love it. Print it. Send it.
All
Oh
right.
man, yeah. I don't know. I feel like people have been asking for Assassin's Creed Japan since like the second Assassin's Creed game, and I don't think they ever actually delivered. I think we just got the China game, which was a handheld game, a mobile, or not a mobile, PS Vita or PSP or something,
Hmm.
and then ported later. And I don't think we've ever gotten anything like that even now. I'm pretty sure we have rumors that Infinity might be like in Japan.
Yes.
Oh man, I hope so because with our luck, it's gonna be like, yeah, Assassin's Creed 18, you asked for it, and it's like Frankfurt, Germany.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, oh my god.
Assassin's Creed, my wife.
Assassin's Creed Turkey.
They already
Okay.
did Turkey.
Oh, I guess they did. Well, fuck, what are they doing? Ah,
Oh man.
foods are getting Assassin's Creed games first.
Assassin's Creed Whole Foods. What are you people even fucking doing?
Assassin's Creed 1990s Midwest. Who asked? What are we
Assassin's
doing?
Creed Vice
Like,
City. Now, god damn it.
going through the corn stalks, like, oh my god.
Amazing.
Assassin's Creed Woodstock. It's like at the concert. The whole game takes place at the concert.
So, let's talk about some unannounced showcases that we know are coming. That next one being Nintendo Direct. So hopefully, we'll see something in September. Is that time for one? So there's a lot of hopefuls, and I think these have been hopefuls for a while now. But the first one being Metroid Prime Remaster.
Oh yeah,
We
that
know,
one's been kicking around forever.
right? We know it's on a shelf somewhere. We don't know if it's going to be a trilogy. We don't know if it's going to be the first one. But I think what we do know is that Metroid Prime 4 is, again, on a shelf somewhere, and wouldn't make sense to release that first before the trilogy, the Prime trilogy. So, I don't know. A lot of reporters are insisting that it is coming out this year, or that it will at least be announced this year. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's just one of those games where it's like, it's elusive. For sure. We know Fire Emblem game's coming because of the leak. And then Advance Wars, we still really haven't had any news on that one. Again, because of the war and, like, I guess part of the game, most of the game is, I mean, obviously the game's war-oriented, but there's a lot of allusions to invading certain countries, and it just, I guess Nintendo has decided that, it's just not a good time to release it. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Obviously, this war between Russia and Ukraine is probably going to drag on for a hot minute. So, I don't know what they do with this one. So, I hope maybe they'll just like drop it quietly at some point. But again, I mean, Nintendo doesn't really have problems letting games sit on shelves. But
do you think there's like a small subset of like Advance Wars fans that are just like out here like waiting for like the war in like Ukraine to be over, and you're like, oh, like, are you like? They're like, man, I wish that war would end. And you're like, oh yeah, I hate seeing people getting killed. And like, I don't care about that. It's delaying my Advance Wars game. You're like, bro, touch grass, please.
Yeah, they're advocating for peace for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, could you just get along so I can get my Advance Wars already? Like, holy shit!
Right.
I'm sure there's somebody out there.
So, yeah. So we do have I mean, a long-rumored Zelda collection, the Wind Waker or Twilight Princess collection.
That'd be cool.
I mean, that's something that has been rumored. Well, this obviously is, I think we're still in the midst of the Zelda's anniversary. Obviously, Zelda 1 I think came out 35 years ago this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. So I don't know. We're still waiting. They haven't done a lot with Zelda thus far. But they did wait till the last minute with a lot of the Mario stuff with their anniversary. So I don't know. Let's hope.
Hey, let's be honest. It's gonna be. We're gonna get Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and it won't be Skyward Sword because they just redid Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be Ocarina and Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess, and what did I say? Not Skyward Sword.
Twilight Princess
and Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never played Wind Waker actually. I've literally never touched that game.
Well, if we get this one, now's the time. It's one of the best Zeldas.
It's gonna be this. It's gonna be like. No, actually, because Ocarina and Majora were on the original GameCube collection.
I wouldn't mind seeing like some of the portable stuff get kind of just carried over, but we might see that with hopefully a new Nintendo Switch Online system, like an Advance or a Game Boy Color, or maybe both, because then you get the seasons, you get Ages, and then you get Minish Cap right off the rip.
Dude, Ages and Seasons, I would love to see that be the next Wind Waker, or not Wind Waker, Link's Awakening project. Mm-hmm. Like, same graphics and everything, same style, but like brought out
that would be great.
On the Switch would be great. And it's got to be the same engine. You could use literally the same engine to do it.
Yeah, dude.
I would like to see. I think not like to see, but I think what would be funny to see happen would be to give us Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, and then like box it up and do like the Mario thing they did for the anniversary, where like it's a limited sale game where you can only buy it for so long,
but you can still find it everywhere to this day.
Then you can still find it like a year later. Yeah, that was funny. Oh man.
You know how Nintendo is. It might be a monkey's paw situation where we get like Twilight Princess and like 4 swords or something goddamn ridiculous. But
oh my god, you know what? Actually, I felt bad about. We never got when they did that one on the GameCube. It was really bizarre because they gave us Zelda 1 and 2, and they gave us Ocarina and Majora, and then they gave us a demo for Wind Waker, which was the next one coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But they skipped Link to the Past completely for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and they even had like a video, and it was like the history of Zelda. And when you watch the video, they're like Zelda 1, Zelda 2, yeah, Link to the Past. Look at Link to the Past. Look how cool it is. Yeah, it's not on here. It was like, wait, why did you guys not just put that on here? How much room could that have taken?
I'm trying to think. You know why? Because that was
It was on the
they
Advance.
re-released it on the Advance with a
They
Four
released it on the
Swords
Advance.
combo. Yep.
And
So-
they didn't want to cannibalize the Advance sales. Yeah,
Exactly.
of course. It feels weird though, right? Because it was like the Zelda anthology, the collection of Zelda games, and then it was just missing one because that one was available. So it's like, that's shitty.
It is. So I guess there's also some rumors that there's been a Donkey Kong game in the works for a while too, so we could see that there. A Breath of the Wild 2. I'm sure we'll probably see some like more game footage. That would be nice. Maybe we'll get a name for it, like a sub name for it, like Breath or Zelda. It's obviously not Breath of the. They're not gonna call it Breath of the Wild 2. They're gonna call it something else. So
you know what's weird about Breath of the Wild?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Breath of the Wild's title is like the most disconnected Zelda title I think we've ever had. Isn't it? Because if you think about it, like, I guess, Zelda was Zelda. Zelda 2 was like Link's Adventure of Link or something.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sure. It was literally an Adventure of Link, sure, whatever, I get it. Link to the Past had a very specific reason for being named that. Ocarina of Time was obviously called that. Majora's Mask obviously was called that for those reasons. Twilight Princess was very tied to Twilight Princess. Wind Waker, it was a very important thing in Wind Waker. Skyward Sword was a very important thing in Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we always get the name of, like, it's relevant to the game.
Centralized theme, and this one didn't really have it.
And I guess Breath of the Wild, I guess, like, I get what it's trying to convey, but there was no thing called the Breath of the Wild. There was no location. There was no even phenomenon related to, like, that name. So it was just kind of like, it just gives me like Home Garden TV vibes, like, yeah, it was a thing, go do it. Like, I don't know, it's weird. It's the first time I think we've had it, because like even the handheld games, right? Like Link's Awakening was like literally about being in a dream, and the Oracle's games were literally about the ages and seasons, like, and the Four Swords was about the Four Swords. It literally was like the only Zelda game, and the Minish Cap and the Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass all were tied to like a thing or a place or a location or a phenomenon. Like, the fact that Breath of the Wild was just like, yeah, here it is. It's a game, and it was like, okay, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I almost feel like, is that a disconnect there? You think, between
maybe
that game and the rest of the franchise? Because that game did have a lot going on differently than all the other Zelda games, right? And that a lot of people who don't like, we have people like Dark who don't like it as a Zelda game because it's so different from the rest of the Zelda games. And I almost wonder if that disassociation was represented in the titling also not fitting on purpose, right?
Oh, I'm absolutely sure of it.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
I mean, maybe originally, because there's always like a lot of like, you play an instrument or something like that, or you always have like, a key item that you use that to control the game. I mean, maybe they were going to use like the Donkey Kong bongos, because they featured Zelda's ass a lot in that game. So maybe they were going to use like the Donkey Kong bongos so that you could like keep, like, maybe it was going to be like a rhythm game, so you could just keep clapping her cheeks to the game, and it was like, maybe it was like a fast travel, or maybe it was something else to control time. Who knows? We don't know, because it's called Breath of the Wild now. It could have been called Clap of the Cheeks. I'm not doing this podcast anymore.
Oh my god. Listen, right. I will not argue that there is a potential for a fast-forward mechanic somewhere in cheek clapping, but I'm not going to discuss it further.
I'm just saying it would be great to for an old use for the Donkey Kong, the Donkey Kong bongo controller.
You do need to market to those bongos owners, because there's a lot of them.
Right.
They're just waiting for something to do with those bongos. Oh my god, yeah, dude. I can't, because if we gave you the run of the mill, we'd have like a Zelda's ass amiibo, and it would just be that section of her that you could stick on your Switch's corner, and like.
I got room on my shelf.
Oh my god. Unbelievable.
I'm sorry. I put you through this every week. So, another great thing to announce, and this would be a great time, because let's face it, the N64 was on the Nintendo Switch Online is less than lackluster, at least for me. I know there are some people that got excited for it, but how about some Game Boy and Game Boy Advance love the love of Christ's sakes. What we have
Yep, I would love that.
a Castlevania collection that features a lot of Game Boy Advance games. I think it was all Game Boy Advance games. We have the Mega Man Z collection, Zero collection. We have, was it ZX collection or something like that. And then now we have like the Mega Man Battle Network collection coming out. So these huge collections of Game Boy Advance games. People want them. Let's do something native that we can play these games. Something like Golden Sun on the Switch would be incredible, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be there for it. I know a lot of other people would be too. Again, that's a game that's long overdue for some kind of a remake or a sequel or something. You were talking about Tomba earlier. You know what game you would like is Brave Fencer Musashi. That was a Square Enix game.
I've heard of it.
I bought it only for the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc, and I turned out to love the game. So I would look into that. I think you would love it so much.
Let's check it out. You know, I'd like to see a Nintendo announcement get a new thing for, and we haven't seen in a while. That I think would be pretty cool. I would like to see them do something with Kid Icarus.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Kid Icarus's last outing was like the 3DS.
Yeah,
and it was supposed to be really good,
but it was weird. It was such a
was it weird?
It was.
And I never played it, but everyone I talked to who played it said they enjoyed it enough to play more if it came out.
So it was just weird, and like I guess you needed a stand to play it because it was just the way it was set up was just very strange. But yeah, I would love a Kid Icarus game. Maybe something that's not what that was on 3DS, but maybe something.
Yeah, well, it just feels like you could kind of slot him into any sort of 3D adventure game, right? Like even like a 3D style Metroidvania or something almost like Devil May Cry with the combat system, because he's already got like the wing mobility and the double swords and the bow and arrows and the different mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen like other characters like Dark Pit and Palutena.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say her name. As like characters that get involved and do fighting and stuff, and it's like it feels like this franchise still has people who like it, and the character still shows up from time to time. I mean, he's in Smash, and he's
enough to justify putting it in Smash. It's like
it's like I almost wonder why they don't do anything with him though, outside of like just being in Smash now. He's the Smash character, and it's like maybe I don't know. I know Nintendo's. I don't want to say weird because I get why they do it. Nintendo's finicky about sales numbers. If things don't sell, they will abandon it, it feels like. So I almost wonder if that's what the case was. Maybe the 3DS Kid Icarus didn't sell, and so they just kind of...
I think it was widely popular. It just had some weird criticisms. I think it did well enough to justify, further development. But yeah, it was just the weird way you had to hold the game versus how you having to go out and get a stand to play it. And it was just odd, but...
actually, though, Nintendo is a wild card right now, in my opinion, because... And I say this, and I'm biased, because I really like this franchise and everything. But, last year we got Metroid Dread. And we found out when they were talking about Dread, they did remember they put out the trailer, and we saw at Treehouse, we saw some Dread. But then they did a separate thing where they talked to the developer guy. I forget his name, and I apologize. I'm usually pretty good about knowing these developers.
Yeah.
They had tried to make Dread like a decade ago, and they said they couldn't do it. They didn't have the tech to make it work like they wanted, and because they had teased Dread in Metroid Prime 2, maybe they were teasing that it was a thing, and then they never got to make it. And I think they said they tried to pick up Dread. They full on all systems go green lit Dread, and then couldn't do what they wanted with it or couldn't make it happen.
And they shelved it.
And they shelved it a couple times before they finally came back for a third attempt, and then the third attempt they got what they wanted out of it, and they made what they wanted. I wonder, we didn't know about that until 2-3 years ago when they announced it finally. I wonder what other projects Nintendo has that are doing that. Do we have other...
Dude.
I mean, Prime is doing that right now. Prime literally got restarted because they were doing it in-house, and they decided they weren't doing justice, and they let it go back to Retro over in Texas. And I just wonder if we in a year or two we see a Kid Icarus game, and it turns out same like you said, Kid Icarus 3D did well enough to warrant a sequel, but they couldn't shake the awkwardness or the whatever about it, and they shelved it, and then they came back, and then they shelved it. Who knows? Because they did it with Dread for a decade basically. And so now we're in this weird position where it's usually games would just give up on that, or teams would give up on that, or a company would just back out of that project forever. But Nintendo kept giving them the chance to go back and try it again when they thought they could actually get it done, and then they finally did. I wonder what else they'd be willing to put their money into like that, you know?
Sure.
So Nintendo for me is like the only one of the big three right now who feels like you could literally see anything come out of them right now because they who knows what they could
Well, that's why
feel like
people
deserves another
tune
shot.
into directs year after year, month after month, is because they have such a
You
humongous
never
catalog.
know.
You just never know what you're going to see there. And I think you don't have that with Xbox and PlayStation 4 because A, they're young, B, they hard focus on like 3 games.
Right. They usually,
internal
yeah,
studios.
they drill down.
I mean, Xbox, they hard focus on Halo, Gears of War, and I can't even think of a third.
Forza, I guess.
Maybe
Forza's
Forza.
big.
Right. So
Yeah.
with Nintendo, it's like they have such a huge back catalog. They have so many partnerships with like studios making their games. You just never know what the hell you're going to get with them. So yeah, you're
Dude,
absolutely correct.
look at the last few years. They've done it to us time and again. Nobody expected to see Metroid Dread to begin with. No, because it was like a dead game. It was a joke in the community. It was like a meme. Like,
Right.
haha, yeah, remember Dread and Prime? We talked about Dread coming. Like that. They did it with Advance Wars. Nobody saw Advance Wars getting a remake. They just dropped it
Right.
in a direct one day. They were like, oh yeah, by the way, Advance Wars 1 and 2 getting a remake. Holy shit.
Yeah, you get so much shock factor out of that. I mean, I think they learned that from just doing like character announcements with Smash.
With Smash. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
They like, dude, there's a whole genre on YouTube of just reactions to characters being
People
announced in
reacting
Smash.
Dude, I watch that shit. It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
super hype. It's cool to watch. No, like think about it. Like they did that with Link's Awakening getting the Switch remake.
Mhm.
Nobody had a fucking clue that that was even a game. And they were like, "Hey, do you guys remember like Link's Awakening?" And people thought like, "Oh yeah, they're porting it to like they're gonna make a handheld thing like they did with the other games, or they're gonna port it to like the Switch or something." Like, nope, full $60 fucking 3D Switch remake. What?
Right.
From where? Like, since when? And then they did it, they turned around and they were like, oh, even recently, like Live Alive. Live Alive was a surprise announcement. Nobody saw that coming from Japan.
100%.
Cause why? Like,
That
it was
wasn't
like,
even on the Nvidia leak list.
yeah, it was nowhere, right? And then all of a sudden they were just like, oh yeah, Live Alive. And people were like, what?
Yeah.
We had that happen with, I mean, this was more Square Enix than them, but I think they're following the same footsteps in that regard. Was they did it with Dragon Quest like 3 getting like that HD 2D remake.
Mhm.
Like nobody heard a word about that or anything, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh yeah, not only are we making the new Dragon Quest game, but like also this remake." And people were like, "Oh holy shit!" Like with the Octopath engine thing, and it was like, "Holy shit." But Nintendo in particular loves to just be like, oh, by the way, a game's coming, and it feels like every direct ends with it, or they announce a thing, and yeah, and of all the studios, like it'd be the equivalent of like PlayStation doing a Bloodborne, right? Or like Bloodborne 2, I should say. I mean, or like Xbox putting out a game, right? It'd be wild. Like you'd be like, holy shit, are they really doing this? Sorry, I had to. Yeah, I don't know, man. Could you imagine like Xbox putting a game out? It would be insane.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'd be nuts.
But no, I think Nintendo's the wild card right now. I think they just like Nintendo tomorrow could be like, yeah, we're doing a full blown 3D remake of like Mario 2, and it would just be like, you wouldn't even be like, oh, it's fake, or like, haha, what a joke. You'd be like, no, yeah, they'll do it. They'll do anything. Like,
You're not wrong.
Doki Doki Mario Panic on the Switch or something like. Insane. Yeah, it's insane. They literally could put out anything at this point, and we would just be like, yeah, it's Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Oh man.
All
Tomba
right.
remake one.
Time to what?
Tomba remake. give me my pig remake. Oh man.
Yes, it'd be interesting to see if Xbox actually does release anything in the next rest of the year.
Hey, listen, they put out. They no, because I thought they did put something out this year, but I actually don't think they did.
They put out that weird slideshow-looking game that came out free on Game Pass. That was their exclusive. So,
what?
Yes.
What game is this?
I can't remember the name of it now. Remember we were talking about it because it came out the same week as Stray did, and it was like with the Steam concurrent players. It was like 26,000 for Stray, and it was like 26 for this game. I can't remember what the hell it was, but it came out. Why are we calling these games exclusives now? It came out on the fucking Steam. But yeah,
Jesus.
it was bad. But yeah, moving on.
I think I haven't seen a game from them since like Halo, right? Or was Forza after Halo? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
I don't know. Maybe next year they'll unkink the hose and we'll get like fucking 10 games a week from them. But
I hope.
I'll
Well,
believe it
because
when I
that's what
see it.
people were saying is like every time I see people talk about it, they're like, "Yeah, like I can't wait to play these games," and it's like you've been waiting to play these games, right? And they're like, "Well, yeah, but I'm gonna play them like probably next year, maybe."
I'll never
And you're
forget
like,
like
okay.
last year's E3, and it was like a big dick win because they got to announce so many third-party titles because PlayStation simply didn't show up to E3. And like, oh,
Yep,
Xbox
'cause
eating
they had to
good,
run a
Xbox
free
eating
third
good.
party.
It's like one of these games was a true exclusive, and it was that Red something game, the vampire game.
Redfall,
Redfall.
which
That
isn't
was
even out yet, still.
exactly. And it was like, oh yeah, Xbox eating good. It's like, when?
Yeah, I see that. People were like, dude, like, look at these games that are coming on Xbox. Like, Xbox is like the place to play games. And I'm like, what games are you playing? And they're like, oh, well, I'm waiting for Redfall and the Star game from the Fallout people. And I'm like,
Elder
what are you
Scrolls,
playing
when?
now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 6. And I'm like, okay, but what are you playing on your Xbox right now? And they're like, Hulu. And I'm like,
Yeah, they're not playing anything. They're on Twitter bitching about it.
yep.
I don't know.
It's wild. Like, I mean, yeah, we've got, like Horizon Zero Dawn came out. You're looking at stuff like Sony just did their whole thing with Bungie, so we have that happening. Like, which I wouldn't call it an exclusive, but I mean, good for them. I'd much rather I think the Bungie deal was a better buy than the Activision one because I think that was just claiming old IPs and hoping they do something with them one day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Bungie's continuing to like increase over time. Their IP is growing and they're just putting out content for the next 4 years on the roadmap.
Sure.
But I don't know. I'd rather a studio with a 4-year roadmap for a game than, oh boy, I hope we make a game someday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. So let's move on. We do have one more like unannounced. We're expecting showcase. PlayStation doing their showcase in September sometime. We've got some hopefuls and expectations for this too. Obviously, PSVR will probably be there. We'll probably see them make a big push for this because this is something that's I think coming out next year, or sooner than that. I'm thinking of something else. So I mean that's coming out soon. So I mean we should be seeing that a huge push for that. We know Helldivers 2 is going to be there because of the leak. That was the leak from NVIDIA. I think we got like a leak trailer for that too. I'm sure we'll see something for God of War Ragnarok that is still on track to come out this year. I'm still not convinced, but they seem to think it's
That's what I
going
hear
to.
too.
So
I really thought that was going to be a delay thing, and then but yeah, like we haven't heard that, so it's like
right. I will be pleasantly surprised. I mean, I honestly, it's not a game IP I play, so I'm not worried about it one way or another. But I don't think it's going to come out this year. But I could be wrong. I'd rather it not come out than come out shitty. So there you go. We could see some Spider-Man 2 stuff here too. I'll be pretty excited to see that. And then we know that PlayStation has at least 10 live service games in development. We may or may not see some of that stuff. I know that they bought Bungie for their live service talent. So I'm sure they were probably bringing them in to say, okay, what can we do with this? What kind of roadmap can we do? What kind of development can we do? What are the tricks of the trade? So if anyone knows live service games that are successful, it's Bungie. So
right.
And then I think there's some expectations to see Team Asobi, the company that has done Astro's Playroom and a couple of Astro VR titles. I would not be shocked to obviously see some VR title come out for this, for an Astro game, VR game. I'd like to see a console Astro game too. I mean, this is something that's been repeated too. That the Astro could be like a great mascot for the PlayStation, but
yeah, definitely.
they're not just not
and
utilizing him.
I heard the game was like it was a great way to get used to it was one of the better like here's why your PlayStation does what it does and how to get used to it kind of thing.
100%.
It was pretty good to get into.
Yep.
It really showed off the triggers. I heard like the way that they vibrate and the intensity and the uniqueness of it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard anyway.
Yep. Yeah, they did a really good job of that.
Embracer made another announcement.
Are you serious?
We have another acquisition by Embracer actually.
Are you full of shit?
Mm-mm.
I can't see it.
Oh, it says owned by Embracer.
Owned
We
by
are
Embracer.
now.
Oh, the podcast.
We
Oh,
have yeah.
shit, dude.
So yeah, when was the date for the Embracer showcase? Because we now have to plug that again. I don't make the
That
rules. I just
Embracer was going to be at probably Gamescom. We'll probably see a little bit of that, but they will be at the TGS as well. So
definitely.
I just got an
tune in
email. They
TGS.
just bought us plane tickets to Tokyo. So yeah, I'll have to take some time off of work. I'm sure they'll understand that I'll be in Tokyo for a week.
Oh my
Great
god.
shit. All right, so that's pretty much wraps up the showcases. So yeah, let us know below like what you're looking forward to, what you think, what throw us a wish list in the comments. Come talk to us on Discord about it too, and my Discord link is obviously in the About section on Twitch. So come on by twitch.com/retrogamedude, and yeah, let's talk about games. So
Oh yeah.
let's dig into we've got some titles coming up this week. So it's not a huge list, but there's some gems in there. Midnight Flight Express, that's coming out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. That will be free with the Game Pass on Xbox. I hear it's something to look forward to, so I'll definitely see if I can check it out one way or another. Saints Row coming out on the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC. Those both. Even this one and then Midnight Express, they are both August 23rd releases. August 25th, we have F1 Manager 2022. That is PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC. And that's August 25th, like I said. Also coming out August 25th, SD Gundam Battle Alliance, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And Pac-Man World Repack, the game no one asked for, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. That'll be coming out August 26th. And they're going up against Soul Hackers 2, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC. And that will, like I said, could be coming out excuse me, the 26th. So let me check here. I'm going to see what Soul Hackers, how they're doing as far as reviews. Oops. We got a 7 out of 10 on IGN, 7 out of 10 on GameSpot, and Metacritic is floating at a 77. So it doesn't seem terrible. Definitely would be something I would probably check out. But yeah, I would say if there's nothing here for you, this is probably a good week to catch up on your back catalog as well. So it's just that time of year.
I hate to inform people that I will not be catching up on the back catalog because something else is coming out on Tuesday that is going to eat all of my time.
Oh yes. Yeah, if you are a Final Fantasy XIV player, the Endwalker patch expansion is coming out. This is a shit ton of game that is coming out as a patch. This is almost like a second expansion as far as content. We talked about it last week, but we're getting new raids. Are we getting an alliance raid?
We're getting 8-man raids.
8-man raids. Four 8-man raids. Whew. We're getting some more storyline. We're getting the Island Sanctuary, which is Final Fantasy Animal Crossing, basically. So yeah, it is chock full of content, to say the least. So us Final Fantasy 14 folks will be eating good this week for sure. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that next week. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm playing anything else this week, so that's what we got. All right. This week in gaming history, Batman Arkham Asylum turns 13. That came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. BioShock has their 15th anniversary, and right now, if you go into the Humble Bundle, $11.99 could get you the BioShock collection. That is actually $9.99 as well on Xbox Live. So definitely a good deal there. Head on over there and get those. F-Zero GX 19 years ago. That came out on the GameCube. That was one of the only GameCubes that came out with 1080p support, even though the system didn't support 1080p. But if you hack your system or play it on an emulator, it's 1080p native. So there you go.
Wow.
Super Mario Sunshine came out on the GameCube 20 years ago. That makes me feel old because I remember when we played that in college. I'm sorry. Mario Kart Super Circuit, that came out 21 years ago on the Game Boy Advance. A little game called GoldenEye, not sure if you heard of it. 25 years ago, that came out on the N64. The Super Nintendo console itself came out 31 years ago. And that was packaged in with a Super Mario World, still one of the best Super Nintendo games to date. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker came out 32 years ago on the Sega Genesis, the prequel to Endwalker. And the original Legend of Zelda came out 35 years ago this week. And an honorable mention and a happy birthday to Hideo Kojima, who is 59 years old on August 24th. So happy birthday, Hideo Kojima.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty much what we have for this week, and you can find me on my social media stuff, Game Dude Retro on Twitter, or Retro Game Dude on Twitch and TikTok. And schedule-wise, like I said, we will be playing Phasmophobia this week, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday. And then, of course, Saturday, we will be back with Jackbox Games, which is always open to viewers, so come and play, join the community, have a blast. We had a new person kind of join the family last night. She was ecstatic about how nice we were and how welcoming we were to the community. And that's what we endeavor here. So glad to get that feedback. That's what we're aiming for. We will. Well, we're gonna have to actually get going because we have to sign some contracts with Embracer Group.
Yep.
But yeah, I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. It's been a good episode. I knew this was going to be a long one, so I do appreciate everyone for hanging in there. Yeah. Hope everyone had a good time, and like I said, let me know what you're looking for game announcements coming up with all these game showcases. Let us know below. Thanks again, guys, and we will see you again next Sunday.